And one of the places I'm going to be next weekend is I'm going to be in Pennsylvania. Look at that. I'm going to be here at Pennsylvania at State College, Pennsylvania. I think registration probably is still open. And I think they're taking registrations at the door. So if you live in the area, you want to drop in and be a part of this, you can read through what's going on. And there is, many people ask me, what's the website where I can register? And it's listed on the bottom of this image right here. And it's pastatebeekeepers.org. So if you want to join me in Pennsylvania, check that out. Take a look at that. And then I think I've got, do I have a screen on? Yeah, here's Texas. And then the following weekend, November 20th through the 22nd, I'm going to be in Texas at Waco, Texas. So those of you in the South want to come over to Waco, I'll be speaking at the Waco Convention Center. And you can check that out at texasbeekeepers.org. You can go on there and register. And looks like a great time. It's all about, I think it's got a lot of different topics, but one focus topic is queen rearing, raising queens. So if that's your interest, you want to know more about that, that's going to be the place to be. Many of you might know some top leaders in the field of queen breeding, such as Corey Stevens. He'll be there. Sue Kobe, she will be there as well. And so just make a note of that if you want to take those in. That might be a really fun activity for you guys to take in as well. So yeah, I got those couple of speaking engagements coming up. And yeah, I was just thinking today, I've been doing a lot of research on bees, and I've been almost out of breath how much research and studying I've been doing of bees. It's like, I don't know why I'm doing it. I just enjoy, I learn so much about bees all the time, and I've been just enjoying bees. And I know some of you might not realize how detailed you can drill down into beekeeping. It's just, it's unreal how much you can just learn and learn and learn about honeybees. I mean, wow. So I've been learning more about the Propolis mite. I've been trying to study as much as I can. I've just committed to know everything I can about the Propolis mite. I made a video a few weeks ago about it, but I want to know as much as I can about the mite because, man, you know, if it ever gets here in the United States, which it is not here yet, hopefully never will be, but we thought that about the Varroa destructor mite, which is one of our major pests now. Anyway, I want to know everything I can about the Varroa destructor mite, how to run tests on it, what treatments are best, and all that on the Propolis before it does get here, or if it ever does. I don't want to be caught off guard, you know. I want to be ready, and I think that's critical. So I've been spending a lot of time enjoying studying a lot about bee anatomy, different parts of bees. I bought a couple of new books too on bee anatomy, and looking forward to getting those. So I hope you enjoy learning more about bees. That's, if you've watched my channel at all, you know that I'm really based in education. You know, all my YouTube videos, I'm trying to teach you something about bees, how to handle bees. It's all about knowing the science about bees, but not getting so bogged down in the science that we forget the art and the beauty of the honeybee as well. So it's a lot of fun. So I want to thank Robbie and Sheri and Jessica for working the live stream tonight. It's good to have them all here tonight. Robbie, we were worried about him. He slid in at the last minute. So good to see you, Robbie. I thought I was going to have to do Robbie's job, and I thought, oh boy. So yeah, let's get into the teaching tonight. I want to set the teaching up because I think it's good to get into the teaching, and I want to talk about November beekeeping tips. All right, so let's talk about some November beekeeping tips, that otherwise things that we should be doing in the month of December. Now, in November, the November tips that I want to share with you today, I know that your November may be different than my November. Probably not all that much, but to make it easier, no matter where you live, you can look at this scale and you can see that we're 45 days into autumn now. So this is practical. No matter kind of where you live, you can adjust it to your season, I guess. But look at my weather app, where I want to talk to you about the weather app, because I know a lot of us get confused about, oh no, what do I do with my bees because I have temperature fluctuation. Like the high temperature tomorrow here in Illinois. I live in Illinois, by the way. People always think I live in another state, but I live in Illinois, and I'm in central Illinois. Well, anyway, look at Friday. The high temperature is 67. I mean, that's pretty warm, right? 67. But then if you take a look at just a couple of days later on Sunday, boom, a nosedive. Not only the high temperature nosedives, but look at the low temperature here on Sunday night, 21 degrees. Yes, with a chance of flurries. Oh no, not the S word, snow. Oh yeah. And then Monday, kind of the same thing. So I think it's interesting to think about, wow, look at this up and down temperature. How does that affect what we do with our bees in November? But what should we be doing with our bees in November? Now, we need to be feeding our bees. That's a major tip. And of course, I'm a big proponent of feeding bees. I talk about feeding bees all the time. If you don't want to feed your bees and you don't agree with me that you don't think bees should be fed, more power to you. You do your thing, I'll do mine. But I have had better luck, more success when I feed my bees at critical moments. Not all the time, but critical moments when they really need it. So now I'm feeding my bees 1-to-1 sugar water to help them raise more bees of winter physiology. Now, if you look at my forecast, though, and maybe some of you can relate to this, and if you can't, there'll be a day when maybe you will have to wrestle with this in the future. But look at that, this nosedive. You might be thinking, well, David, what are you going to do when the temperature drops to 38 and it drops into the 20s, barely, almost in the teens, but barely in the 20s, for 3 days? What are you going to do then? Well, for 3 days, my bees are going to cluster, and they're going to stay clustered. So they're going to be in a tight cluster. Now, my bees will still eat food in the cluster if you put food above on top of the cluster, if it doesn't get real cold. So where I've highlighted the red area here, I actually am confident that the bees will be warm enough, because they're really large in size colonies, that they are likely to continue eating those jars. And I'll show you in just a minute what I did to the jars to keep the jars warm. But for 3 days, the bee is going to be clustered. Now, I'm not opposed at all. I'm weighing whether I want to take these jars off and bring them into the shop here, keep them warm for those 3 days. That's probably what I'm going to do, because I've got insulation in there anyway. I can just pop them off and then leave the jars in here for 3 days. So that's something to consider. And you may be worried about going without feeding your bees for a few days. We get a lot of emails, and we answer a lot of questions more than just on YouTube, but a lot of people do contact us. I have a mentorship program where I mentor people throughout the United States, and they will often ask, I'm a little worried. I don't know if my bees are going to make it. I should be feeding them. Can they really go 3 days without any food? Yeah, bees can go 3 days without food. They can go quite a long time without food, but they can't go forever without food, obviously. But a little break like that is not going to hurt them. I'm not worried about, because here's the deal. Your bees should have stored resources on board in the way of honey, nectar, bee bread, pollen. They should have all of that that they stored up. That's the way bees operate. So don't get too alarmed. You might have a colony that something failed and they don't have any stores at all. That's an exception. Okay. I know that happens. But normally, most of our hives have enough food on there. They could go weeks if we don't feed them. In fact, if you don't want to feed your bees at all and they have a lot of nutrition on board, that's the way bees are supposed to do it without our help. Okay? So it's still not cold enough yet for me to put on my winter bee kind boards. And it's going to be back up into the high 50s after this little cold snap. So I'm just showing you how I navigate through these up and down November, autumn temperatures that swing all over the place like this. It happens, okay? Now, when we feed our bees, I'm going to put my jars back on. If I take them off, I'm going to put them back on the hive on Wednesday, because you can see I'm going to be back up near 60 on Wednesday, 54, 55, not getting below freezing. So I don't have to worry about the jars getting too cold, And I really rely on the heat of the colony coming up into the jars to keep it where the bees enjoy eating them. Now, I'm feeding them 1-to-1 sugar water with my additives because I'm still trying to promote diutinous bees. That's a word that I shared with you guys. We have a word of the live stream every week, and so I like to share new words for you. Diutinous means winter bees. It means long-lived bees. So by feeding 1-to-1, my fingers are crossed and my bees are metabolizing what I'm feeding them and powering up the nurse bees, powering up the queen to lay eggs, nurse bees to take care of the larvae, and to keep raising bees as much as they can. Because the more winter bees I have, the better chance I have of having a lot of bees to survive my cold prairie land windy weather here in Illinois. So this is how I'm feeding my bees right now. I'm using my own feeder that I created, the Burns feeder board, and they're going through the 1-to-1 sugar water that I'm giving them with my additives. You can see there some of the additives are clinging to the edge of the wall a little bit, but they still get plenty of all the additives. They don't need a lot. I just put a little bit in there to kind of mimic what they would get in nature when they get nectar from the nectaries of plants, right? So, yeah, that's what it looks like. And you notice in this picture, this is a video that I made a couple of days ago. Off to the left there, see that installation? So what I'm doing, because I want to keep trying to feed liquid and I want them to keep drinking it, I don't want this top box to get too cold and make the sugar water cold. So what I'm doing is actually just adding some insulation like this. It works out really good. I'm using batt insulation, and it's not the real. I have some that is real fiberglassy with all those particles, but this is a kind of a newer type of insulation that it's supposed to be. It doesn't have any formaldehyde in it, and it doesn't have those particles so badly. And so anyway, it's in there, and the bees are able to keep a little heat in that top box. So that's how I'm kind of navigating through these cold evenings. And so I tested it. I thought, okay, I went out there one day, I think might have been a couple of days ago. It was really cold in the morning, and it was 38 degrees when I looked, and I thought, I want to open it, pull the insulation back. I want to see, are there bees at the jar, at the screen? Are they eating the sugar water right now at an outdoor temperature of 38? Well, I opened it up. Look, oh yeah. I looked at 2 or 3 hives. They were all eating the sugar water at that temperature. So just because, we say bees won't eat sugar water if it gets below 50, you got to remember, in that box under the insulation above a cluster, the temperature is warm enough. I should measure what that's what I'll do tomorrow. I'll actually pull a jar out when it gets cold again. I'll pull a jar out, and then I'll take a temperature reading. I've got an instant temperature gauge. I can get an instant temperature of what that water is they're eating. Wow, there's so many cool things you can do with bees. I sit around and think, oh, I could try that. I could experiment with this. And that way, we could kind of put the rest, do bees, look right here, the water's whatever temperature and the bees are eating it, so that'd just be good to know. Anyway, this is working out really good for me. But one of the other November tips, listen up, everybody, is that I want you to avoid inspections. Do not inspect if the temperature is below 60 degrees Fahrenheit or around 15 degrees Celsius. It can damage brood, because if you raise the brood up, you can chill it. It's incubating at around 92 or higher degrees in the hive, capped over brood is. And if you get it too cold, well, then it will kill it. And so you got to be careful. Now, you can open a hive up. Okay, don't get confused what I'm saying. You can open a hive, take a top off, put a feeder on, something like that on top, put a winter bee kind on, whatever. It's not going to hurt anything, because bees don't heat their hive the way we heat our homes. They heat each other, so they're not trying to heat the box up. They're not trying to heat their homes like we do. They are in a cluster staying warm. So you can open a hive up, put it back together. Like sometimes you might forget and take treatment out. And so in the wintertime, if you forgot and you need to get your Viroxan strips out, you can open the hive up and take them off, as long as you don't pull any brood up. So keep that in mind, but you don't want to pull frames up and out of the hive if it's below that 60-degree Fahrenheit or 15 Celsius to avoid damaging brood. You can also kill the queen. Now, let me explain this. This is a November tip that's really critical. Avoid inspecting your hives in November if you can, because if sometimes you can accidentally squish your queen. And so I want you to be careful about that. I know a lot of beekeepers feel like that would never happen, but that queen is walking all over the place really fast. We have trouble seeing her sometimes. She can get onto the edges of the wood on the frame, and you can smash her. She can fall outside the hive if you lift a frame up and bees fall off. And this time of the year, you're almost not going to be able to find a queen to replace her, okay? That's why it's really risky to do an inspection now, because you need to be getting your bees ready for winter. Let's don't do anything that could jeopardize our queen. We need her to last all winter and into the spring, okay? Also, and depending on where you live, if it's still kind of warm, you could invite robbing when you do a inspection in autumn like this. So avoid inspections this time of the year unless it is essential. Now, I made a video last week and I showed you how I had to replace a queen, and I did it at 53 degrees Fahrenheit. That's way too cold to be playing with bees. I did pull frames of brood up because I found out they had a queen. They had been raising one. That always happens. About the time they're queenless, they've been working to raise ones, right? Anyway, I wasn't too concerned because I knew they had bees on the frame of brood that I was looking at. So bees were standing above on the pupae, keeping it warm, and I didn't keep it out of the hive very long. So you can do those kind of techniques, but only inspect if you're willing to take the risk of all these things happening to your bees. Now let's talk about another November tip. A lot of you might be wondering, I know when I first started beekeeping, I didn't really know up from down. I really didn't. I mean, I started 30 years ago, people, before there was an internet, okay? Before there were all the books that we have now, before there were classes everywhere, before there were conferences everywhere like it is today. My gosh. And so I just didn't have a good knowledge base or resources I could go to. I lived in Ohio, out in the middle of nowhere among Amish people. And when I started beekeeping, it was very hard to learn things. And anyway, you learn things, you pick up what people say, right? People still do that. And someone said, you never want to break the propolis seal after October the 1st. If you break the propolis or propolis seal, it will be over. It was like, dum, dum, dum. Oh no, I broke the propolis seal. Well, I found out later as I got more experience as a beekeeper, it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, it kind of does, but it really doesn't. It's not the end of the world if you break the propolis seal. Now let's talk about, what is David talking about? What's this propolis seal? Well, if you look at the picture, do you see on the edge of that box toward the front here, that gooey substance? Can't really see it, but it looks like kind of like brown peanut butter. Well, that's propolis that bees have brought into the hive, and it has antifungal, antibacterial type properties to it. It comes from plants and trees and things, and bees gather it and bring it back in. And it's part of their immune system, actually. It can help a hive to have a lot of that inside the hive on the boxes and all. Anyway, the propolis there, if you look at it, in the summertime, it's very sticky. It is a little bit thicker than peanut butter. It's more like roofing tar in the summertime. Those of you that are new to beekeeping and haven't started yet. So you'll get acquainted with propolis and you'll be taken back by the propolis. Anyway, it can be hard to work with because it gets your gloves sticky. It ruins your bee suits. It not ruins them, but it makes them look terrible. And your hive tools get all blobbed up with propolis. And it's not a problem in the summer because it stays in a very pliable kind of sticky way. But in the wintertime, in the fall, it gets really hard. And so if it gets really, really hard, that's why you don't put shingles on your house in the wintertime because the shingle material, that roofing tar type material in the shingles, needs to get warm and hot to seal. Well, that's what kind of is the deal with propolis. So anyway, it's not that big of a deal because I have found that where I live in a cold climate in the north, but there are enough days where it gets warm enough where that will reseal, believe it or not. Even on cold days when I take tops off and I forgot something, I go back out there 10 minutes later on a cold day, it's hard to get the top off again, even when it's really, really cold. So don't freak out about that. I realize the value in people saying it. Sometimes I can see it being something to take serious if your boxes are very old and all the edges are kind of like not even anymore. And the bees use propolis to seal all the air gaps of your old equipment. Yeah, if you ruin that, then it could make too much air come in. So I understand, but let's don't sweat the breaking that propolis seal. But if you notice in the picture, you are going to have to put something heavy on top, like a rock, just to be safe. Now, I want to talk about these plastic top covers that I started using a couple of years ago. I love them. Oh my gosh, I can't get enough of them. I think I have 4 or 5 more hives to finally transfer over to the plastic Bee Smart lids. But these tops are the best. I love them. I don't have to worry about them breaking, cracking, or me breaking them when I'm trying to open them up. They're just, I really think they're awesome. And so anyway, I was always worried they'd blow off. I thought, oh, how are they going to seal that down? But they're actually harder to get off than I think a wooden top is. But the good news is you're not going to break them trying to get them off, but they seal really good. Now, another thing I've been exploring in my videos this last week, if you've watched some, and I want to talk about a November tip, another November tip is to provide a windbreak. Now, I bought this anemometer, and it's a wind gauge, handheld. I think I paid $30 for it. It's in the description of some of my videos off Amazon, and I love it. I've had these before, but this one is really cool. It's got the temperature on it, so you can go out to if you're thinking about moving your hives to a less windy place, or you're new to beekeeping and you're thinking about starting in 2026 and you want to know, I wonder if I put my hives here, is this a real windy spot? Well, you can stand there and lick your finger, hold your finger up and take grass or dust and, like you see in the movies, and let the dust go with the air, and you can get an idea. Now you can be a little more scientific and official about it by actually seeing how windy is it here. And so in this bermed area that I had built a couple of years ago, and I got a berm that's about 8 or 9, maybe 10 foot tall in some places, well below, blocking the air for my bees. And so I'm enjoying studying this windbreak because it's a U-shaped bermed area. And I think I've moved about 8 or 9 hives in there now. So I got 3 more that are too heavy that me and Christian could not even lift. And we're both strong. Anyway, I'm going to have to take them apart to move them, I think. But I may not move them. They may stay where they're at. But anyway, back here, that's what I'm doing. I'm letting this big berm area be a windbreak for me. So a windbreak can be something you build. I know a gentleman on YouTube said he built a windbreak out of plywood. He put in some fencing posts and put some plywood up on them. And it's so windy here, it destroys everything we put above ground. I mean, it's insane. It really is. I've lost so many big trees too. Anyway, think about that. You can put them on, use this little anemometer to find out what's your predominant wind in the wintertime, and then put your bees somewhere where they can be blocked from the wind. Don't worry about foragers. Foraging is over for me. I was talking to my friend John Zavishlock yesterday or today, and he said his bees were still bringing in some pollen, and they're in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And it's like, wow, really? You still got some goldenrod? It's just like, whoa, it's so barren here in Illinois. We got nothing. And of course, wrapping. I've been making videos for you guys on wrapping your hives, and I think that is a good idea. I don't think it's essential. I think it helps. I think it can't hurt. And that's my feeder on top there. But wrapping your hive can be a big help, especially if your hives are weak and they're low in population. Are you just hoping they'll make it through so you can requeen them in the spring? Something like that. Wrapping is going to really help weak, failing, suffering colonies. And anymore, I'm starting to realize almost all our colonies are not as good as we think. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a 60 to 75% die out every year, right? So we think our colonies might be really doing good. Apparently, they're not. So we need to do everything we can to bolster them up. So I think wrapping them is going to help a lot. So you can watch my videos where I show you how I'm wrapping them. I've got another video to make because I'm wrapping them with some batt insulation. I just got that, and I want to make some videos soon about wrapping them up with that. And the final thing I want to share is your autumn checklist. Okay. Well, number one, let's make sure that you've removed the queen excluder. And the reason that's important is because you don't want your queen to be excluded if your colony moves up above the deeps into the super. And then all at once, your queen is excluded in the cold regions where no bees are found. So let's get the queen excluder out of there so she can stay in pace with wherever the cluster goes. Oh, the winter cluster may move. She needs to be in the middle of it. So get that off. And listen, I know some of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've ever heard of that. Yikes, I've got it on there. What do I do now? Take it off. You don't have to pull any frames out. It can be cold. Just have somebody help you. If you have a helping hand, you don't need somebody to help you, but I always like somebody to, I can lift the box up. You pull the queen excluder down. I put the box back down while I'm holding the box. So it helps. I already talked about feeding. I like to feed 1-to-1 to stimulate the queen to lay more eggs so I can have more bees of winter physiology. And then the third thing, like I showed you in my weather app, monitor the weather so you'll know what's coming up and you'll know what to do ahead of time. Like, oh no, the temperature is dropping. I need to be prepared. I needed to get my insulation on there by that date. Whatever you're doing, watch the weather. Avoid inspections for the reasons I mentioned, and put weight on top of the hive. I'm jealous of all of you that live where the wind doesn't blow. I don't know what that would be like. I know I see people, I see their hive. There's no wind blowing on their hives. That's amazing. But anyway, up here we have to make sure we have heavy weights on our hive, not just to keep the top on it, but to keep the whole hive from blowing over, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy? And then finally, we talked about wind and how to wrap your hives and a windbreak and all. So that's your autumn November tips checklist. That's going to help you guys out so much. So keep all those things in mind. That's so good. All right. I'm going to give you the word of the day. And the new word of the day is at the bottom there. Robbie, do you see it down there? It's trichromatic. Trichromatic. Bees see light through 3 types of photoreceptors. And so now humans are trichromatic, right? We see red, green, and blue. We have those photoreceptors. Bees are also trichromatic, but they see through 3 types of photoreceptors. But notice the difference. They don't see red, but they see ultraviolet. Wow, look at that. So if you're new to the honeybee's eyes, then you may not know that bees really don't see the color red. It's going to just be kind of just one dark color to them. But so they can see colors that we can't see, especially in the UV range of the wavelength. So trichromatic, that's a new word you can use at your bee club, and you can act like you know something. You can say, hey, did you guys know that bees' eyes, bees are trichromatic? And but be careful when you do that. They might start asking you more questions and you don't know what to say after that. I remember I had to learn, I was traveling to a different country one time, and I had to learn the language of that country, as best as I could. So I thought I had a trainer, teacher, whatever you call them, teaching me the language, right? And so I felt good about it. I think I studied for months to be prepared. And when I went to this country, I made the mistake of speaking like I knew the language. And then what they said back to me, I picked up like 1 word out of 100. It's like, whoops. So be careful when you start spouting out big scientific B words. Somebody might take you deeper down a scientific path you're not wanting to go. Happens to me all the time. Oh boy. All right, let's see. What else do I want to share with you before we get into some questions and answer? Let me look over all my notes here. Got the word of the day. That's cool. And last week, if you don't know all the word of the days that we've had in previous live stream, last week's live stream, I listed them all in that live stream. So drop back. You can click on the previous live stream and watch all the other words that we've done. It's been fun doing the other words. Okay, I think I'm ready to take some of your questions, and we got a giveaway coming up, so don't go too far away. That's fun. All right. Hello, Cheryl. Chance of a little snow here Saturday night and cold Sunday and Monday, but then back to 50s for another week. I think I'm safe to wait to wrap with Bee Cozy until the end of next week. You know, Cheryl, you're safe not even to wrap your bees at all if your bees are healthy, okay? So if they have plenty of food, good laying queen, and they have a lot of bees with winter physiology, low mite count, yeah, you don't have to wrap them at all. They should be able to be fine. But I understand you wanting to wait. Jester40 gifted a membership for my channel. That's exciting. I saw that. Thank you so much, Jester40. Now that's a way that you can actually, when you leave a super chat or something, Jessica was filling me in on this. You can actually give someone a membership to the YouTube channel, and Cotham Creations was gifted that membership, received that membership. So take a look at that if you want to have fun with that. It's a way of letting other people be a part of the membership. Like Brian's been a member for 16 months. Feeding bees liquid this late in the season when it's cooler, is there a concern that they won't be able to dehydrate enough and it will turn to alcohol? No, not. That's why I really enjoy doing one-to-one, because I'm not trying to get them to necessarily dehydrate it. They're not putting it in their all the supers are full and everything. They're using it to raise brood. They're using it very selectively to be life support. It's like an IV. Yeah. Is it normal for hives not to have much brood right now? Yeah, it's not uncommon, because brood does certainly wane a lot in the fall. And yeah, that's very common. Something I don't like to see, because I like to see a lot of brood going into winter, but it's a battle. And that's why I'm feeding one-to-one to try to keep them laying a little bit more to get more brood, get more populations up in there. But you don't have to. But yeah, you'll see in fact, in the wintertime, if you were, you can't do this, don't do this. But if you were to open a hive up and inspect it, and if you didn't feed them to make them make more bees, you would maybe only see a very small amount of brood in your hive, maybe like on a couple of frames of a little small hand size of brood is all you're going to see, depending on the queen and all, and the size of the hive. Not uncommon. Oh, all right. I just purchased a flow frame. Winters here can get to 35 degrees Celsius. Can I keep the plastic honey frames on for the winter, or should I remove it? The flow hive people say that should be removed before you go into winter. So I would stick with your manual that came with that flow hive. I have a flow hive, and I try to take that off before winter. Yeah, but follow their guidelines for sure. Any success wintering a smaller weak hive over a strong one with a double screen board? I think a lot of people do that. I've tried it before, and it's not my go-to method. It doesn't work well for me. I just like to keep my hives kind of separate, but I think a lot of people do it. I'm mentoring some people that are doing it successfully. It makes sense. Some heat from one goes up to the other and all that. I would say try it and see if it works for you and you're happy with it. Then you've discovered a cool way to do it. If you're like me and you tried it and it didn't work as good as not doing it, you might think, yeah, it didn't really work for me that time. Sometimes I need to keep trying things over and over. Just because they didn't work one time doesn't mean they're not good and won't work in the future, by the way. Yeah. All right. My bees stopped eating the one-to-one sugar. I'm feeding fondant, hoping for the best. They were also flying at 50 degrees. What's up with that? They have plenty of resources in their hive. Well, not uncommon for bees to fly. They stretch their wings. They like to go potty. Bees do not defecate inside the hive. They have to go outside to have a cleansing flight. And so obviously they're going out, stretching their wings, taking a cleansing flight and all that good stuff. Yeah. 50 degrees brings a lot of bees out sometimes. Yep. Where did you get the coffee time sign? I wish I remember. I can't remember the guy's name, but I had the cowboy up sign and it's coffee time in the background are metal signs that a gentleman here on YouTube had made and sent to me. He also had that big metal American flag. I can't show you over there. And it was just what a gift that was. So these are great things that he made for me. Yeah, isn't that something? Pretty heavy metal too. Heavy metal rock group. All right. Hello, David. Quick newbie question. Took off my liquid feed yesterday. Bees didn't seem to consume, but half a jar in a month. Should I be concerned? No, I don't think so. A couple of my hives aren't going through the sugar water at all. And I was like, what's up with that? Well, they're just clustered really far down below and they got plenty of honey down there. They don't need it. They're not up there yet. So yeah, that just happens. I wouldn't worry about that. Put your ear on the side of it and tap on it. Make sure folks are home in there. Why do you say it won't be cold enough? At a meeting this week, it was discussed that my bees may remove the sugar if you put the winter bee kind on too early. Can you verify this? Not necessarily, because if you put the winter bee kind on, that sugar is designed to kind of turn more liquidy from the heat of the cluster or the heat of the day. So it would still turn into a very, not very, but a way where they can consume it rather than be removed it is not just table sugar. They would probably just get rid of hard table sugar if you put it in there, but they use the moisture from the heat and moisture from the colony actually makes that winter bee kind candy able to be consumed by the bees. David, I have a strong hive and one that is looking weaker. At a couple of days of 65, can I combine them? Absolutely, you can. Yeah, you can. Be no problem to do that. Put the weak colony on top. You remove one of the queens, obviously, of the top hive. Yep. Don't let them fight them out or both queens could die. All right, more questions for me? Yeah, David, thank you so much. Do you think burlap sacks would be good insulation around the feeder jars? Yeah, better than nothing. I don't know what the R value is, so I'm not going to use them, but I do use my band insulation. I know the R value of that. So it would be of a little help, but not as much probably. If you insulate your hive and they have ventilation holes at the top, should you cover the holes or leave them open? Oh, that's really a kind of a personal call, I think. I do a little bit of both. I don't really have any ventilation on top. My winter bee kinds have a teeny tiny little slit in them, and that's more for the bees to be able to go in and out on potty breaks. But yeah. Oh, Rick became a YouTube member. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of people are joining my YouTube channel membership. That's different than my B Team 6. The YouTube channel means it's a place where you can support my channel by being a Beak Squad ambassador or a Nectar novice. And hi, David. Thanks for everything. Is it advisable to close off bottom entrance and just use the top entrance on the winter bee kind? I do enjoy doing that. I think I've had really good success doing that. And because the bees are kind of going up now, I remember I don't put my winter bee kinds on until very late December or early January when the hive is starting to move upward anyway. Right now, they still may be lower and they might be really wanting to use that bottom entrance. So you kind of have to listen to your bees and let them tell you where they're at before you use that. But it is amazing when I discovered that bees were using that entrance at the top of a hive on very cold days just to take a quick potty break and go right back inside. That excites me because biologically they're getting rid of their waste, which helps them not have a collection of nosemus spores that can quickly, the microsporidium can quickly spread. And so I like to see bees take a potty break like that. Yeah. We had several hives that abandoned ship the past couple of weeks in central Wisconsin. So sorry to hear about that. Been hard to wrap my head around this. So abandoned ship can mean two things. They all died and slowly they dwindled down and just flew out of the hive to their death one by one, or they all abandoned ship through absconding and they all just left for higher ground for some reason. And yeah, that's very hard to wrap your mind around either of those. Why would they leave with winter coming? And then what happened to the bees that they would just, or what happened when they died one by one or a handful at a time? You know, could be that they just had a virus, something that really took them out, some kind of a pathogen or disease that crippled your bees up and they died. Parasitic mite syndrome, deformed wing virus, things like that. I am sorry to hear about that, but chin up and use the frames and all to maybe start in the spring and give it another try. Can you talk about pros and cons of cooked versus uncooked candy boards? Seems like a ton of people prefer the ease of uncooked, but we personally like the cooked Winter Be Kind style candy. Thank you. I think it's it's a matter of preference. I think I've tried both, and when I do the uncooked method, it seems like it leaves a lot of sugar that the bees remove. And we try to get the candy. It took us a couple of years to get our Winter Be Kind candy just right, so that the heat of the cluster and the mixture does, I'm going to use the word dissolve or get a little more liquidy so the bees can consume it. Where the other method, it was more harder for me. So I guess it depends on, experiment and find out what works for you, for sure. All right, we got a giveaway coming up after 2 more questions, okay? We might do spin the wheel. Let's try that tonight. Spin the wheel. Second year beekeeper here in St. Louis. Several of my hives don't have very much resources at all. How do I know how often to feed so they won't starve? Thank you in advance. Now, that's a good question. I appreciate the question. When I don't know how much to feed them, I'm going to overdo it because I don't know, right? And so bees are I think it's very misleading when it comes to bees because we don't usually feel bees eat a lot. What can a bee eat, right? But they actually consume a lot, especially if they have brood or if they're a large population. They can easily consume 3 to 5 pounds of honey or pollen a week. And so that's a lot. And so you really need to be concerned. And I would just try to feed them as much as you can, fearing that they don't have anything and they might die if you don't feed them. Yeah. All right. One more question here before the giveaway and spin the wheel. David, one of my hives got robbed and I lost a few of the bees. On Sunday, it's supposed to be over 65. Should I rearrange and check out the honey stores on top deep to make sure they're in the center? If you're an experienced beekeeper and you feel comfortable doing that and being careful not to kill your queen this time of the year, and you want to kind of arrange the brood in the bottom and honey above them, I do that. I think it's fine to do that, but you got to be really careful because, you've got your queen running around and something bad can happen to her. Let me grab the wheel. All right. If you're brand new to the live stream, you may not have experienced spin the wheel. It's a lot of fun. It has embarrassed several of us. I can't read it because of the lighting, but I'll get it somewhere in there. Anyway, if it lands on one of the Beak Squad stickers, that means we're going to have a giveaway, and we'll let you know about that. And there's a lot of other things that can happen here tonight. If it happens to land on something that I don't know about, we'll bypass it. I'll just be honest and say, I can't do that. Okay, ready? Let's give it a try. And you can always ask one of us a personal question. That's on there too. Oh, it did land on a personal question. My team is shaking their heads, covering their faces like, how does this happen? Okay, we still have a giveaway coming up. But so how this works, if you're new, Robbie is going to set up a giveaway. And so one of you will be chosen by our computer system here. And so you'll just have to put #personal if you want a chance to ask any of us a personal question. It doesn't have to be bee related, okay? And so you can ask Jessica a question, or Sheri a question, or Robbie a question, or me a question. What's your favorite movie? Where in the world does Jessica live? I mean, I always forget what state Jessica lives. She's in Virginia or West Virginia, one of those states like that. So, you may want to ask a question that you're just dying to know the answer to. So you'll just, if you're willing, you're not coming on live with us. Your face will not be shown. Don't panic. No, we're not going to embarrass you. You simply, once you're chosen by, the winning thing here, you will simply write your question in the chat. Like, let me give you an example. Let's say Bob Black wins. Well, Bob Black is going to say, well, I want to ask David a personal question. So you just go to the chat and it's going to say Bob Black wants to know if David, blah, blah, blah. That's how this works. Okay. So it's kind of a fun way to kind of get to know the team a little bit better. I need to introduce my team in an upcoming live stream because they work so hard behind the scenes. And I know a lot of you really appreciate them in the chat. All right. So #personal is what you write in the chat. And if you write that down there, it's you saying that you'd like to ask one of us a personal question, and we'll see which one that the computer picks, and then off you go. Okay. That's how that works. So while you're typing in #personal, let me take one more question. We'll let that kind of get going there a little bit. Give me another question, please. Oh, I see. Yeah. When you start typing #personal, it gets confusing in the chat, doesn't it? Here's a question. New to bees, one hive is queenless, no brood. I know they will die despite lots of honey and bees. When I get new bees, do I put them into the hive as it is, or do I have to clean off the frames? You really don't have, sorry about your bee loss. You really don't have to clean off the frames. Knock off or brush off as many dead bees as you can. Going to make it a lot easier for the bees to set up shop in a cleaner house. Yep. If they're not diseased or anything, no need to worry. All right, Robbie, let's get the show on the road and let's do a personal giveaway here. We've got another giveaway coming up, and we'll see who wins this giveaway tonight. Who's going to ask one of us a personal question? All right, Carrie, that's your cue, Carrie. You go on to the comments now, the chat area, and then you write down your question and to whom you want to ask it, okay? And as soon as my team sees your question, Carrie, I'll say your name over and over again so that you know that you're the one that needs to write one of us a question. All right, that's fun. Now, while we're doing that, you guys can watch for Carrie. Let's go ahead and have another giveaway. Oh, I got a lot of things I want to do. Okay, let's have a giveaway. So tonight, what we're going to give away is the new robber screen. I'm still got a lot of these on my hives now. Moving hives that worked out good. But this is the new one that has the extra door down here at the bottom. Can't work it backwards. There I go. Look at that. The mouse guard built into it. It's got these little retractable legs that go down too. That can also be like a little mouse guard if you want to close this one. I mean, you can play with this thing. It's like crazy, but see how these little things work. So that's really cool. Will you be attending the holiday winter cluster in Indianapolis? Oh, that's you, Carrie. Oh, okay. Well, Carrie, nobody's asked me a hard personal question yet. That's an easy one. Hello, Carrie. I didn't know you were the Carrie. Carrie, Sheri and I are going to really try hard. Yes, we have been invited to attend that winter cluster in Indianapolis, and it is our intention right now, Carrie, to be there. But Carrie, take a moment. I want you to ask a more personal question, okay? Ask something a little more personal. All right. So what I wanted to show you while Carrie's thinking of something else, look at this. Do any of you remember I made a couple of videos on what this is. And I want this, you don't win anything by answering this question. It's just kind of fun. I want you to know, I want you to put in the comment if you know who made this for me. Okay. And I'll tell you what it is in just a moment. Couldn't live without this. It's so cool. Do you know who made this for me? Those of you that watch all my videos and you binge my videos, you know who made this for me. And as soon as my team sees it, I don't know if my team knows who made this for me. You can put it up there if somebody knows who made this. But what it is, it's actually for making queen cups, for raising queens. And so you fill up a big thing of wax. David Burns Beekeeping, my dad. So Sheri answered that? Sheri wins. Okay. Oh, I see. Somebody else said it. Okay. There you go. Sheri's dad. Yeah. Bill Hennis. I must be confused on who answered it. But anyway, looks like we got it there. So that's great. So thanks for watching all the videos. So what you do, you dip this in wax like this several times and it sticks. So Bill made this, and these little dowel rods are fashioned just right. Let me get up close here. Here we go. Let's try this one. And when you pull that off, you have a little wax cell that you can put on a wax frame and put your grafts in there. Isn't that cool? I made several videos showing you how to use that. So anyway, that's cool. All right. Did Carrie come up with another personal question, or does he feel good about that first one? All right. So let's have we had a giveaway. Did we set this up, Robbie? Let's give this robber screen away. Okay. Very good tonight. Or hashtag robber. All right. Hashtag robber. Yeah, you can leave these on all winter long. You might be thinking, well, how do I clean off or clean out anything that I want to scrape out of the bottom? You can just remove it quickly, pop it off. It has thumbtacks here. You can push it onto the outside of your hive. So if you want to rake out the dead bees, which a lot of us do in the wintertime, you can just pull this off real quick, scrape out the dead bees if you want to, and then put it back on there. So it will keep mice out. So that's what's really important around here. Wow, keeping the mice out. Hashtag robber. Who wants to receive a robber screen? All right, let's do it, Robbie. Let's draw a winner tonight. Thank you all for being here tonight. It's so great to see so many of you here. Yeah, I'm here every Thursday. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. David Potts, welcome. You won. Be sure and email us within 24 hours, beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. Congratulations, David. And if you do need one of these, we do have these available on our website as well, if you want to get those. Yeah, that's cool. All right, let's hit the questions again. See what else is on your mind. I want to help you guys. What other questions are you wrestling with? I still need to remove mite strips. How do I do that when it's cold? 2 brood boxes in Wisconsin. Are they Viroxan strips or are they Farming Pro strips? I would say just go out there. It's important to remove them. Go out there, have somebody help you, pick a box up, take them out, put the box back down. Lifting frames is, as long as you don't lift out brood, you're going to be fine to do that. It won't hurt. Pick a warm day to do it. The warmest of the cold days. I've had to do that too. I'm a first-year beekeeper. I live in South Bend, Indiana, not too far from me. I have 3 hives. I've given them over 200 pounds of sugar this year, 1-to-1. Does that sound normal? 3 hives? Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. I'd say a little bit above normal. I mean, that sounds like a lot more than normal, probably, but not bad. Good luck. Let us know how that goes. Hi, David. Hey, Larry. Recent community publication wrote an article saying urban beekeeping, my hives are urban, should be banned because it takes away from the native pollinators. Any thoughts or studies on this? Oh yeah, there's a lot of conferences and studies being done about the role that honeybees are impacting native pollinators. Many people, scientists that I have talked with, always come back to, sure, if you had a big, commercial operation of hundreds and thousands of colonies in one area, it's going to really impact those pollinators. The backyard beekeeper, not so much. But on the other hand, there are a lot of things that are impacting native pollinators that really need to be given more thought, I think, in my opinion, like monocropping and just the loss of foraging space out there in the world, right? It's becoming more urban and concrete buildings, parking lot, malls, all that is pushing out all pollinators, not just honeybees, but that's having a big effect on native pollinators as well. My take on that. But yeah, I think bees could run them out if you had a lot of colonies, Larry. Yep. David, running 7-frame equipment, will 1 deep and 2 honey supers be okay to overwinter here in Northwest Ohio? Yeah, probably. If you're using the 2 honey supers as brood area, maybe if you ran 1 deep and 1 medium super as your brood area, and then your other super as extra on top, that'd probably be plenty. Yeah, I mean, you can overwinter 1 deep. Some people do that. One more question. Time for one more. Is there still time to combine 2 weak hives to make it through winter? Yeah, I don't know where you live, but absolutely, because you don't have to pull frames up, so you can just start combining the best you can. Use the newspaper trick, and that should do it. Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for being on the live stream tonight. Wow, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for your donations that you've made on the live stream. It does take a little bit of money to make the live stream happen every week, so we appreciate that. Live stream donations go to special speakers and to have giveaways and to pay the bills. So we appreciate any donations that you make toward the live stream. And I just want you to know I appreciate all of you so much for being a part of my YouTube channel. I have been on YouTube now for 17 years, and I've been making beekeeping videos 2 or 3 a week for a very long time. My whole intention in making videos for you is to help you. You're the hero. You're the one that is the kind of the star of the show. And I'm trying to help you succeed, learn, enjoy beekeeping. I get a kick out of helping you guys. So I appreciate you so much. Love you all to the moon and back. I can't thank you enough for being a part of the channel. And I want to thank our team tonight. We want to thank Patrick, our videographer, always out there filming with me. Want to thank Jessica, Robbie, and Sheri, doing a great job tonight, making it all happen for all of us. They're the best. Wow. And I hope you enjoyed the live stream, and I hope you look at all the videos I've made and take them in this week. I'll see you guys in the next video.